Night Terrors Night's End issue 1 finds a little girl woken by terrible nightmares of the superheroes chasing her and eating her. Her father assures her that it was just a dream, and even he and her mother had nightmares earlier, but they weren't real, despite being scary. As her parents leave the room, the girl says that she saw a man without eyelids, and he says the heroes need to pay for what they did to him. The parents quietly tell themselves that they saw him too, but assure the child that they must have seen something on the TV that just stuck in their minds, since nightmares aren't real. Suddenly, all of Insomnia's sleepless nights manifest, but only to the little girl, who screams in terror. At the Hall of Justice, Insomnia finally gets the Nightmare Stone, allowing him to finally tell the world that the costumed heroes they adore are the real threat. He thanks Deadman for getting him what he wants, and in return he'll fulfill his promise and give Boston the dreams he desperately wants. The villain uses the stone to give Boston his very own family, who all rush to hug their father and husband. Boston knows that this isn't right, but Insomnia believes that he deserves this, and this is what they all deserve. He knows that his family was taken by the failures of the Justice League, and he wants Boston to take the gifts of peace he's offering and to stop fighting. The Justice League arrive to confront Insomnia, warned by Sandman not to underestimate the villain since the stone he wields can be dangerous. Superman demands to know why he's made these creatures, but the villain says that these are things that were born in each hero and he has just opened the door to them. He tells the team to look around the hall since they built a place where they could be worshipped. Insomnia brings the various exhibits to life, forcing the League to battle things like Starro and their old costumes. Sandman calls for Deadman to wake up, but Boston finds himself in his dream world, surrounded by a loving family. He soon snapped out of his perfect life, telling his fake family that none of this is right and he doesn't want this. Deadman confronts Insomnia, telling him that he didn't give the hero what he desired. Chris gave Boston what he wanted most, which is his family back, and he's not going to live in some dream while out in the real world his friends are hurting. Deadman attacks Insomnia, but the villain grabs him, wanting to finally find out what Deadman's nightmares are. Insomnia uses the stone on Boston and finds that he's actually living his nightmare, forced to watch others live on and get the spotlight and never move on. Boston attacks, saying that if he's trapped in there, then he's going to ensure the villain is trapped there with him. Back in the waking world, Batman tells the team that they need to go back to where this all started, heading deeper into the hall. Superman clears them a path as Robotman and Zatanna confront the sleepless nights, keeping them busy so the Trinity can leave and deal with Insomnia. Deadman meanwhile tells Insomnia that the stone is corrupting him, and he feels it as well, as the stone played on his own anger left over from when he died. The villain doesn't care what Boston lost since he's lost everything, but the hero tells him that everything Chris has done so far doesn't honor his family, but together they can stop this and make it right. Insomnia knows the hero is right since the world knows the truth now and he has won. He rips Deadman apart, telling the being that the League could have saved his family but didn't, and the only way to honor his family now is to punish those heroes. The Trinity and Sandman meanwhile arrive back at John Dee's body construct deeper in the hall. Batman says that Insomnia was drawn there because of John Dee's Dreamstone, revealing the stone is in his possession and it might be able to counter the Nightstone, although someone will have to take control of it. Sandman takes control of the stone, telling the heroes he's always felt a connection to it. He says he's always dreamed of being part of something bigger as Insomnia appears, warping the heroes with the Nightmare Stone as he goads Wesley, asking if he really thinks he can handle the Dreamstone. The villain says that if he can't have his family, no one can, and he will kill Wesley now just like he killed Deadman. Deadman, however, appears, grabbing Insomnia and slowly choking him out. Boston says that Insomnia isn't a nightmare anymore, he's just a ghost like him, and now he's going to help him do something he should have done a long time ago: cross over. Deadman opens a portal to the afterlife as Sandman uses the Dreamstone to siphon off of the Nightmare Stone's power. Boston wrestles the stone from Insomnia's grip, casting him through the afterlife portal as he tells Wesley that he knows what he wants. Sandman tries to tell Boston that the Dreamstone can save him, but Deadman knows that it's time he went on a new adventure since he's sick of being in the audience. You can hear the people cheering him as he disappears back into the afterlife light. Insomnia meanwhile wakes back up with his family, but suddenly they all turn into zombies, grabbing their father and pulling him deeper into the flames. Back in the waking world, everything turns back to normal and the world begins to wake up. Batman doesn't think it's quite over yet, as Batman, Damian, Detective Chimp, and Zatanna return Sandman to his grave. Wesley knows that while the Dreamstone is safe, the Nightmare Stone is missing again, and he hasn't had this much of a challenge since the fog. He thanks the heroes for giving him one more adventure, but now his wife awaits him. Zatanna uses the Dreamstone to take the Lazarus resin off of Wesley, returning him to death and to his grave. Damian tells his father that Deadman has gone missing, finding him to be odd, but Batman knows that he'll be back when they need him. Suddenly, Batman falls unconscious, and later at Terrific, Mr. Terrific tells Damian and the other heroes that they have no idea what happened to Bruce during the nightmares, and his body was pushed to extreme limits by Deadman, so this is his body catching up on some much needed rest. Superman asks what will happen now, and Michael tells him that he wants to rebuild Red Tornado and repay him for keeping the world safe while they were all asleep. Superman decides to get back to Metropolis and Supercorp to solve a few mysteries of his own, while Diana agrees to do the same, wanting to deal with this anti-Amazon sentiment that has been growing around the world. She assures Clark that it was right to close the Hall of Justice, but Superman reveals they didn't. People just stopped coming since they are too afraid now. He knows that they saved the world, but why does it feel so wrong? Wonder Woman thinks it's because they didn't win today, as elsewhere, the little girl from before puts all of her drawings of the superheroes she did in the bin, finding them all to be too scary now. Her father thinks they are too scary as well, as Amanda Waller tells her bosses that they didn't plan for this event, but Insomnia's mission helped show the people that the heroes are dangerous. She also reveals that the villain gave them 2 gifts as well, showing that Bright managed to steal the Nightmare Stone along with the Helmet of Hate that Peacemaker got them. Waller asks an unseen person if they are the right one to wield this, and the man knows that he needs his friends to see that they can't just use smiles to solve problems. The being takes the objects, knowing no one must know who he is, as he combines them to become Dr. Hate. Waller wants to get on with Phase 2 now that the Justice League are feared, so now it's time to move on over to the Titans.